What's up, everybody? It's Billy here, and today I wanted to cover the trend change analysis. You guys have probably seen me cover this a lot in streams or in chat if you're already a part of my community. But if you're not, this is a very, very old example. When I did mentorships back in the day, we did big mentorships and we did like live trades within them. But the big thing was covering how we trade using our charting techniques and all that good stuff. And one of our favorite trade setups that is very common is a trend change. A trend change is what you see here on this chart. So you have a very nice uptrend, and then it ends up slowing down, and then price ends up giving you a cascading price. So price ends up just giving you a steady, pretty good angle on the way down, and not any kind of continuation or anything. Again, this is just getting a very common resistance line, so you can apply this to any of those. And a big trade that we did within this was from this piercing line right here. So you can come over here and you can mark your open to your close. You can mark your 50%. And you can see that price did in fact close over the 50% of the previous day. So you can see there's pretty good bullish potential here. So you have that. But a big thing with trend change plays is, what are the outcomes? What happens after these? So a lot of the big things that can happen, a lot of the big probabilities that can happen out of this after price cascades down here is, one, you'll get a parabolic move up. That's, I guess, an amazing thing to happen if you end up getting into that pattern play and it just flies. Amazing for you. Take that big winner and protect your gains. Another scenario is that it kind of pops out and then kind of does a little angle or a range trade. And what I mean by that is it can pop out and do a little angle. It can move out and go sideways. It can go down and do a little higher low from whatever the low is within the trend change. But regardless, is giving you a range to trade from. This is the second scenario, the most common scenario in which price just range trades after it pops out of here, which is very awesome. And the most important thing to note is, so like right here, this would be the low of this trend change, right? And I'm about to zoom this out. I just wanted to cover these scenarios before I show y'all. But you see how this is the low, right? So whenever price pops out of this, right, and ends up range trading, and let's say it ends up just dropping, right? You want to make sure that it makes a higher low from this or a double bottom from that drop. You don't want it to ever go lower, because then that's just saying that your trend change has widened, if anything. So you might be getting a really big fake out. You might be experiencing a new drop that's going to send price further, whether it's from news or a catalytic event or earnings or something like that, some outside variable. But a third scenario is that it just keeps falling and doesn't end up actually going with you. But the amazing thing about these trend changes is that they give you so many good trade opportunities. So let's look right here on UNH. So this is where I was zoomed in on, and as you can see, it actually ended up running pretty long before it finally stopped. But the big thing is trade opportunities, targets, and the amount of trading tips this gives you, just looking at this. So, okay, we got our gap range here marked. Going through your TA routine, of course, you're going to mark your emerging candles from the left side. And then you're going to look at your major peaks within the trend change. So, of course, I marked the top. I got my other main range right here marked. I got my peak right here marked. And you can mark about right here, just so you have targets for when price goes up in the future. So, mainly got everything we needed. We can zoom in now on this. And as you can see, price ended up doing that kind of second scenario where it didn't just parabolically fly. It kind of just exited. It went up, exited, range traded, and pushed up. Range traded again, pushed up. But how many different times could you have taken a trade in here? Okay, so one, earliest entry was the piercing line bullish reversal candle before it exited trend change. Two, first candle to close out of the trend change, stop loss being outside of that move. So you would either do outside of your pattern right here for your stop loss, or outside right here where you actually exited the trend change. So you wouldn't, you'd have a pretty good stop loss for entry. So at close, a first candle to close out, you can do the next emerging candle breakout. What do we have here on this peak? What are these peaks? A lot of people ask me that. These are the main targets. So here's the main 3 or 4 targets that you can expect to hit just in the V-shaped recovery. So these are mainly where you're going to be looking for the long-term recovery on that. So price ends up pushing up. You had another trade opportunity right there. Okay, so as it broke out, not right there, I'm saying like that's where you'd be looking. That's not your entry. Your entry would end up being that candle if you were to actually have ended up taking that trade. What's another trading opportunity you could have taken? You got a gap up here giving you a nice little morning star look as it broke over this emerging candle breakout. So now you have another trade opportunity there, and another, and another, and another, and another. And these trend change plays end up giving you so many trading opportunities. I can give you so many pattern plays right here. So you got a piercing line, bullish candlestick, right here, bullish engulfing. So really this one would have been the better one. So let's count. We would have had 1, 2, 3, 4 possible entries just right here, and that's just to get into the long move, So again, we're not buying contracts that are for next week expiration. We're buying contracts that are at least a month out on these plays. So that's why you see us always calling those really popular ones out. Like right now, we're calling out July 16th. We're calling out September's, August 20th. We're not calling out next week's, June 25th. We're not gonna do that to y'all. But the big part of this video, though, was to show you what a trend change analysis is, and applying your technical analysis routine, applying all of that, you can also make for some really good day trades. So, what's a really good day trading system that we know? The BB system. So at any of these days, you could have added the pre-market high and low and waited for a bigger breakout, even just for a day trade. So even if you aren't a swing trader, there were still plenty of day trading opportunities in which this was giving you high probability look at. It's giving you a lot of interest. Like, yo, look, it's breaking the trend change play. This might actually give you a lot of bullish scenarios. So you could still apply your BB system, your technical analysis routine, and it'll give you very effective levels. And as you can see, marking those levels from the left side, look what price ended up doing. So after it pushed up, let's get past all this. So price ended up pushing up, ended up breaking out above this 359.40 emerging candle from right here, ended up pushing up to here, the next one. And then look how price came back up here, made its new high. So now you're bullish. Now you're definitely bullish because you made a new high. That's very big. If you guys have referred to my higher low video, you know that this is bullish whenever you can make another high. If we would have done this and then price came down right here and then pushed back up, then we would have had a double top. It wouldn't have been so bullish, but we went past that, So if it would have rejected that, yeah, it would have been a whole different story, but it didn't. It ended up pushing higher. So, what's a big thing that bulls need to do, though, to maintain control? A retest, an 80% entry, just like on the BB system. So what did price end up doing? Price ended up cascading down with relatively lower volume, held that trend line, that higher low that we're kind of going off of now. And now you can see it ended up pushing and making a double confirmation high above the old high in which it just pushed up to, like that example I was covering. So look at that. Look how that ended up gapping up and starting above it. So very bullish, as you can see. But I also want to slide my other screen over here real quick, and I want to show you guys Tesla. And just to show you guys that I wasn't kidding, we really were doing this a long time ago. I was actually trying to find a recording of me already doing all this, but as you can see, I'm going to be putting all this in a channel or something somewhere in chat. But here's the UNH example. You can see you have the downtrend change kind of occurring. You have the bullish engulfing popping up, and we were looking for that gap, that same gap range. So you can see I didn't even change some of my levels there. But let's look at another example, So right here I say try finding a trend change chart from the daily or 4-hour time frames. Remember to scroll up and reread that. And again, you could pause the video at any time and review that again. So here I found a trend change play just to analyze it. We're not looking for a trade opportunity. If we want to set up a trade plan after, we can. And so here we go. So step 1, start on the daily or 4-hour time frame and find a downtrending stock. Place a trend line where the price touches but does not break in at least 2 to 5 spots. So you want to find a very, very common resistance. And we end up in this example finding a very, very common resistance. We can see price even broke out above it and tried holding above. So step 2, find your range now. So now that the stock has already kind of exited and pushed down, now you want to find your ranges. So find the low of the move, so about right down here, and the common resistance, so up here. So you're going to have your common resistance and then your range. So now you have a pretty good bland area of price already. And now you can start to add other levels. So as you can see, this is where buyers could not take price back control of before trying to break the trend line. So now we have a grip around where price is and where buyers or sellers will need to take control of for a bigger move out of this range. Now we can kind of start to move on now. So step 3. Identify and mark any extra notable levels. Those are those emerging candles I was marking, all those extra levels I was marking with the technical analysis routine. So definitely learn the TA routine, definitely big. And you can see in the light blue, I ended up marking a gap range from the top left and a bunch of other really good levels. Sellers can take control and take price back down. I also marked 2 supports where buyers held control without going to the lower side of the trend change range again. So as you can see, price ended up pushing out, pushing down, and holding a higher low. So bullish, we're looking good on that now. So now we know we are starting to get a better base forming. That's the best step in that. So you can see we have our low and our higher low. So now we're going to look for our candlesticks. So remember on the UNH how I found the bullish piercing line at the bottom of that downtrend change? It was about right here. What do we have here on Tesla? We didn't get it right here. We got a morning star there on Tesla, a very strong morning star to close over, so very good pattern. And then price cascaded down a short-term retracement, very, very healthy, made that higher low, and gave us a bullish engulfing. So that's what led to that gap up. That's what led to that bullish continuation up to these 600s or 700s again in this example. But yeah. And then, of course, step 5, make your trade plan. And, of course, that kind of ties back into how I was showing you guys the technical analysis routine in which you would, mark all your levels, of course. And if you haven't checked out the TA routine, you really need to, because that's how you create a trade plan. So I'm not really going to break that down in this video. We have an entire playlist and tons of videos in which I've already shared with everyone. So please check those out. But I hope this video is helpful. I hope you guys get into trend change analysis a little more with me. A ton of plays come from this, and you can play them repeatedly. It doesn't have to just be one-time deal. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.